Hello everyone, how you all doing? Hope you guys had a beautiful weekend like I did. My name is Hassan and welcome to Astropods. So alright guys, on the podcast today I'll be talking to you about the COVID-19 relief package that the lawmakers finally passed, and it's a beautiful news, right? Yeah, it's a good thing. Finally, after months of stalemate. Anyway, we're going to be talking about the details of what is in that relief stimulus deal or bill and what is not in it. But as I have a tradition of just talking about some other topics that I found to be newsworthy as well. I call them newsworthy stories, newsworthy gist. So top on the list is the US hack attack, the cybersecurity hack of the US government or some of the top agencies like the Treasury Department, the Veterans Department, and all that. How bad is it? Why am I talking about this? Is because, as you may know, there is this, even the American senators, they are talking tough, really tough, that this will not be tolerated, and because they are saying that the extent of the damage, we cannot even begin to wrap our heads around it, because it's a severe, real damage, because they have been there for months and they've sort of seen the whole American security and secret. So Americans are really upset. I'm talking about the people who are in power, the lawmakers. They are upset. So why are they upset? Why is this a big deal? So how bad is the attack? That's my question. So these are things that you may want to check out yourself, read for yourself, and just give yourself some more kind of like leg up on this kind of informations. Another thing is we all know by now that there's a new COVID-19 strain in the UK. That is to say, the virus has mutated and is active right now in the UK, in the United Kingdom. Why is this a big deal? Because it's a new one. That's why it's a big deal. And how will this affect relations now moving forward? Talking about the Brexit deal and so and lots of other issues like that. And I saw this first time yesterday, because last night actually I drove my dad to the airport. He was traveling to Nigeria to spend the festive period in Nigeria. I mean, we call it Dirty December. I mean, for my dad, he does not know that there's anything called Dirty December in Nigeria, but I mean, yeah, he went to Nigeria to spend his Christmas and New Year's in Nigeria. However, I saw some of the restrictions that the Nigerian government has, or the conditions. Like, before you can be passed to travel, you must show the most recent COVID-19 test, the result of it, the one that you took in like 72 hours prior to the time you went to the airport. So those are like some serious restrictions, and if you don't have it, you're not traveling, you're not flying nowhere. Literally, you're gonna get your money back. So I saw that and I was like, wow. And I knew that, like, for instance, France has closed their borders on the United Kingdom because they don't want the United Kingdom to bring a new set of coronavirus into their country. That kind of reminds me of the time when, during the early days of this pandemic, when the United States presidency, Donald Trump in particular, shut the Chinese people out from America, citing that because of the pandemic was from China. Only for us to find out that the reason why that pandemic became a thing in New York and in America was because, yes, we've stopped Chinese travelers from coming to America, but there are other people that are coming from the UK, from the European countries, from France, from Italy, that are bringing the virus into the country. So it was like, oh, we didn't know that it was from that area. So now everybody's on high alert now, because we know that the pandemic may start in China, but it is very, very active in Europe as well. As I said in one of my recent podcasts, when I talked about how Emmanuel Macron of France, the president of France, had the virus, but France is low-key becoming the hotbed for the virus in Europe. So those are the things that is going on right now. So next one I want to talk about that I think is also newsworthy. So you can check that. There's the new strain of COVID-19 in United Kingdom, and so now that will now lead to a question of, can the vaccine cure this new strain? I saw on some of the headlines that some U.S. doctors said that the vaccine can actually help to ward off this new COVID-19 strain that's coming from the United Kingdom. So it not say it was a cure; it say it can help to prevent it. So hey, right now fingers are crossed, because if after I spend all these billions and billions of dollars, if the vaccine cannot take care of this new strain, are we back to ground zero? So these are things that I think they are all newsworthy gist. Now, another thing that people talking about is Trump's refusal to accept the result of the election a stain on his legacy. Is it a stain on his legacy? That's another question people are asking. For me, I think it's not nice, because, like I said, I've made this point clear many times that Trump as a president is fantastic. I mean, talk about, like, even this stimulus check that they're talking about. He had told them that he wanted to give people $2,000 for the stimulus check. He wanted to give people more money for their pandemic unemployment insurance benefits relief, or whatever they want to call it, pandemic unemployment insurance benefit relief funds. You want to give them more money for that, because he happens to understand the value of money. Because when you have money, you want to spend it, and when you spend money, it helps the economy. Simple mathematics, and as Pelosi did not get it. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about political things. I'm just here to talk about simple things that I think is just like yes and no, kind of like, plain things. So, but its refusal to accept this result, trying to go to court, trying to do all of these things, and the United States of America is so prideful to, once you had said that you've lost, you've lost. Now, granted that even the Democrats cannot say that there was no election malfeasance, malpractice in this whole thing. Yes. However, they said that it was not big enough to swing the pendulum of power from Biden to Trump, or Trump to Biden. That at the end of the day, it was still the majority of Americans voted for Biden. And, I can understand why Trump is like, why should I accept this kind of defeat? Like, there's fraud, but America is telling you, Mr. President, move on. So I will say this too. I believe Trump would go down as one of the best America has had. If you're going to talk without being biased, but this whole thing that he's doing right now is not making him look good, because it can be riding high on the success of this coronavirus vaccine that he has made happen through the Operation Warp Speed that he birthed literally. So these are things that I think Trump should really focus on, his success, and he should stop making this noise. But maybe he's trying to do something else. Maybe he's trying to expose some corruption, because even in the first one that he won against Hillary Clinton, he even said then that his numbers could have looked more better, that there was some election fraud going on. Even though he won that election, he was still saying that there was still some fraud in that election. So I don't know, but until you are able to provide facts, I think it's a stain on his legacy. But hey, check out some of these articles on some of these major newspapers. They have more in-depth analysis about this event. Now, the next one again I want to talk about is, yes, there was a bomb attack in Kabul. That's in Afghanistan. I mean, it's a shame. It's a shame, to be honest with you. It's a shame. And the bomb blast was targeting targeting a lawmaker in Afghanistan. It was targeting a lawmaker, and it killed women and children. And the lawmaker was badly hurt as well. So I think it was a car bomb, something like that. Like maybe they planted a bomb in a car. I've not read the whole article to know what happened, but it's just a shame. Like, people are just dying, and the Middle East is still very, very fragile, very, very volatile, and it's not a good thing. I just hope that those who've lost people, or those who have people that are badly hurt, or whatever the case is. Hope that they're able to get the strength to carry on, to be strong at this time of despair. So it's just sad. I really feel bad about that. And those who have lost their lives, I wish them I just want to say rest in peace to them and the families to, be strong at this time. I'm so sorry about that. So now the British pounds have suffered due to this COVID-19 new strain in their country. The value of the pound sterling has gone down considerably. And last but not the least, I'm saying a lot about British today because I want to make a podcast about the British Brexit. So what's going on with Brexit? They are supposed to have closed the deal, and now they've not closed the deal. Now there's this COVID-19, and so many things I think people need to know about Brexit. So what's going on with Brexit? So you guys check some of these things out to know what's going on with Brexit, how the COVID-19 new strain might affect relationship between the country and other nations in the European area, even with America as well, even with the rest of the world. People are now shutting their borders and embassies from the United Kingdom because they don't want none of those new coronavirus strains. So, and can the vaccine that we have right now be strong enough to help cure you of that virus, even if at all you're gonna test positive for the new COVID-19 strain, because it has mutated, ladies and gentlemen. The virus has mutated. All right, I haven't said all of that. What is the next thing? Ooh, that's a lot of things I said right now. So now let's talk about this COVID-19 stimulus check that they just passed. Now they are waiting for Trump's ascension to sign the bill and to become something. So maybe the money start getting people's accounts in the next couple of weeks. Who knows? Because there'll be direct payments now. Remember that they were not trying to do direct payment before. Remember that before, when we were talking about this new COVID-19 relief package, they were saying that people will not get the COVID-19 relief like that $1,200. We will not get that one at all. Just be the added money. But thanks to people like Bernie Sanders and Senator Josh Hawley that fought those other senators, that is not just acceptable. And people are even saying now that we had a chance to get a better deal a few months ago, and Nancy Pelosi blew it. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about Nancy Pelosi because it's really upsetting what she did, but hey, you live, you learn. I mean, if she knew it was going to be like this, she would have done. I think she knew. I think she's just playing politics with the American people because she wanted Biden to get the glory and the good reports. That's their business. Let's talk about it. So this new COVID-19 thing that they just passed, it was bipartisan, both from the Senate leader, Mitch McConnell, to Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer of New York, and Nancy Pelosi and the rest of them. They made this happen. So in this deal now, some things will not be in it, and I'll tell you what those things are in a short while. But let's say what people are going to get. So there'll be a $600 stimulus payment to millions of American adults, right? Okay, and that's those who are earning $75,000 or less. If you're earning more than that, you may not get up to that amount, or you may not even be eligible to get anything at all. There's that part of it, and there's another additional federal unemployment benefits that is $300 that'll be added to whatever you're getting as your unemployment insurance benefit. So there's this federal unemployment benefit that'll be $300. Remember the last time it was $600, and people were excited about that. That really helped the economy to bounce back from the sharp shock of the coronavirus shutdown. So now they've slashed into two. So it is now $300 federal unemployment benefits, and this will be for 11 weeks. So from whenever the money start going out, it will last for 11 weeks. That's like roughly 3 months, and to cover the months that it has not covered from before. Yeah. So from when this thing stopped around, is it July or August? It's going to cover from that time to now and for the next 11 weeks as well. Now, the next thing I want to talk about in this one is the people that will be getting the businesses that will be affected. Okay, I'm just going to read from this this from what they say here in the New York Times. Say the measure would also provide more than $284 billion for businesses and revive the Paycheck Protection Program, a popular federal loan program for small businesses that lapsed over the summer. It would expand eligibility under the program for nonprofits, local newspapers, and radio and TV broadcasters, and allocate $15 billion for performance venues, independent movie theaters, and other cultural institutions devastated by the restrictions imposed to stop the spread of the coronavirus. So a lot of money is going to that department. So they are covering a lot of grounds with this new deal, with this new package. And I'm quite, I would say I'm overly excited, but I know that at least people are going to get some kind of relief that we all need. Because if you are trying to get a job at this time and moment, you'll see how difficult it is to get a job, because there are no jobs. And the jobs that you see, they are not jobs that you think you want to do, or maybe you're not qualified for those jobs. You're talking about high-tech jobs or jobs that are just mean nothing, like maybe flipping burger in Burger King or stuff like that. Not that they are not jobs, but maybe that's not what you want to settle for. So so it's a good thing. You take the good and the bad. You just have to roll with whatever you are given. Okay. So Nancy Pelosi said something that's when she said that we have now reached agreement on a bill that will crush the virus and put money in the pockets of working families who are struggling. That's so hypocritical. I don't want to even go into Nancy Pelosi right now because she's full of it. All right. So now the CDC panel is saying, another thing that I think is also newsworthy is that they are saying that frontline workers and people over the age of 74 should be the next to get vaccinated. Do you agree with that? I do. I think our senior citizens have suffered immensely from this pandemic. We've lost a lot of them to this pandemic, and to know that they ought to have been the first people to get the vaccines. But hey, better late than never, as I say. So, and the frontline workers too, those who are working in the supermarkets, talking to people, those who are working, cleaning the street and all those things, they are right in the front lines. And they also deserve to get vaccinated, to get protected, because you don't know what's going to come. Because this new strain might come. I think it's probably already here because it's already in the UK. So the sooner you get these vaccines, the better you are protected against these new strains. So now, but there's this Senator Patrick J. Toomey, all right? He's a Republican from Pennsylvania. He's not happy with this whole bailout, giving people money and all that, and he's trying to make sure that this doesn't ever happen again. But the Democrats and the Senate were quick to let him know that things like this is an emergency fund, and we cannot say that we cannot get this kind of funds. But he was not happy with it. He had a lot of pushback, and he was not yes. And I can understand where it's coming from the point of the fact that we can't keep dipping our hands into the treasury. We'll be deficit. We'll be losing a lot of money. We'll be neck deep in debt, and that's a true statement. But the fact that this is not a thing that people are doing because they just want to dip into the country's treasuries, it's because the situation warrants for it, and we don't know when we're going to get out of this. Now that the virus has mutated, we don't know. So that's one of the senators that are not too on board with this whole relief thing and all that. Now, but check this out. Without congressional action or support, more than 12 million Americans were set to lose access to expanded and extended unemployment benefits set to expire after Christmas. So if they had not come to the rescue of Americans, it would be so shocking what would have happened to many people. But yeah, they came through. So even though we don't know when the money's going to come in, but at least if it comes in the next 2 weeks, let's say 2 weeks from now, it's still something. And the fact that President Trump actually tweeted that they should make sure that the money is a direct payment, direct deposit into people's accounts, and instead of having people to go and take checks. Now, this is the thing. There's an argument for and against that thought process or that procedure, because some people don't have bank account. Believe it or not, some people don't have bank accounts. Some people don't have access to the internet or anything like that. So when you give them a check, they can go to check cashing places and get their money. So you can't just give everybody direct deposit. You should also reserve some things to give people checks so that they can go and get their money, cash it themselves. So that is another thing that I think is good for checks, but we cannot just send checks to everybody because a lot of people in America are used to this internet banking system. All right, so now people will not be getting the check is those dependents that are 17 years old. Those dependents that you are 17 years old and older will not be eligible for this $600 direct payment. Unlike the last one where people got all that money, but this time around it's not going to be happening. Say 17-year-old not eligible for this direct payment, although lawmakers agreed to provide direct checks to people who file jointly with a person who uses an individual taxpayer identification number instead of a social security number. The last round of $1,200 stimulus payments prohibited that, blocking the estimated 1.2 million American citizens married to undocumented immigrants from receiving them. So this is a little bit better because like the last time, if you were married to an undocumented immigrant, you're not able to get this $1,200. But this time around, there's a direct payment for you because if they say that you file you file jointly with the person who uses an individual taxpayer identification number instead of social security, so they're able to work that. I think this was one of the things that President Trump was trying to get in the last one that he proposed. That Nancy Pelosi rejected the $1.8 trillion offer because they were going to do in this case now they have provided for those who are not citizens also to get money by this thing that I just read to you guys now. 1.2 million American citizens married to undocumented immigrants. So now, because if you have the social security, you're definitely a documented immigrant. But some people that use this tax payer identification number, because they're married to a spouse that is an American, they don't get access to these funds. And it says when tried that stuff the last time, the $1,200, they didn't get it. More than 1 million of them did not get the money. So that's one of the things that the government is looking to help the country with. Another thing here is this. Let's see. Lawmakers also agreed to provide additional $100 a week to dual income earners. Beautiful thing. The relief package was to be paired with I love this news right here. So the relief package was to be paired with $1.4 trillion catch-all government spending bill. Included are the 12 annual appropriation bills to fund every federal department and social safety net programs, as well as an array of legislative add-ons lawmakers attached to ensure their priorities could be enacted before Congress adjourns for the year. The bill would also simplify the federal government's financial aid form, called Free Application for Federal Student Aid, or FAFSA, one of the array of sweeping education policy changes. Talking into the agreement, Democrats secured significant college affordability provisions such as a major expansion of the federal Pell Grant program of low-income students and reversing a decade-old ban on extending the grants to prisoners pursuing degrees behind bars. The deal also forgives more than $1 billion in federal student loans for historically black colleges and universities. Now, if you say, what have I just said, Hassan? Oh my God, you're just reading to us. It's because this is powerful. I have to read it so you guys can get it. But, maybe I'm not the best guy to read a book for you. Now, this is the thing, right? So now, for instance, those inmates who are trying to get a college degree that has been, that has been banned from getting the Pell Grants, this bill provides for them. They'll be able to get it. All right. And more than $1 billion in federal loans for historically black colleges, that's like debt forgiveness. It also forgives more than $1 billion for black communities, for black colleges and universities. $1 billion. That's a lot of money. I don't care what anybody says. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of debt forgiveness. All right. And that's a good one. Actually, I'm really impressed with that one. And it said that the Democrats secured such as federal Pell Grant for low-income students. So that is a beautiful thing, all right? So the fact that they came through for the students is a major victory. I am so happy that they look out for students. Another thing that they did in this bill is that there's also a provision for clean energy. Among the provisions is legislation that would cut the use of powerful planet warming chemicals used in air conditioners and refrigerators. So that's another thing that is also included in this particular bill. So we are talking about more than $2 trillion combined, the stimulus check, the stimulus relief package, and the culture, federal government spending bill that they're going to pass in the next couple of days. So it is, those are things that is involved in it. And the idea that America does not want to, or the Republicans does not want to be part of the clean energy or don't believe in science, I think that has been debunked because they're beginning to cut. It says that they'll be cutting the use of powerful planet warming chemicals that is used in air conditioners and refrigerators. So they will cut the use of those chemicals. I don't know what it is, but they know what they're talking about. So all of this is just to go green, to help the planet, because we see what's going on in the Amazon forest. We see what's going on in California. We see what's going on in so many parts of the world as this natural disasters. See what happened in Australia. These are things that is really, really devastating, and it's a result of the world, the earth actually getting too hot, and that's we have so many wildfires all over the place. Now, so on that note, let me talk about those who will be getting something and those who will be getting nothing. Now, I already mentioned, I've been talking about how the many ways that this package is helping people, and I just want to touch a few of them. Okay, so the payments PPP, I forgot the word for it. I just mentioned it just now. Snap, I can't remember the payments protection plan or package, right? Anyway, small businesses will be getting $325 billion. All right, so that's out of that money, 325 will go to small businesses, and that is talking about the payments protection program. All right, that is mainly affecting small businesses, and some businesses too big ones to get some money, so they'll be getting that amount of money. And direct checks, there'll be $166 billion that'll be directed towards direct checks. Okay, vaccines, testing and tracing, they'll also be getting $55 billion. Unemployment benefits, we're getting $120 billion. So now you see the unemployment benefits that's the extra $300 that we're talking about. So that's from this $120 billion. Transportation, like the aviation, the trains and all those things, they'll be getting another $45 billion to support them. Okay, nutrition and agriculture, they'll be getting $26 billion. Schools, all the schools, colleges and and high schools that have been closed for so long, they're getting $82 billion. Rental assistance, those that cannot pay their rent, that cannot afford to, they are right now staying at eviction, will be getting another $25 billion. That may not be able to help them out, but at least it's something that is significant enough to support them. As you know, that government is not really supposed to help you with all your problems. They're just helping you to stay afloat, to get your bearing. The next one I see here is the support for small banks that serve low-income and minority communities. Even the banks, like some of these community banks that we have here, that serve the communities, they're also in they're also in distress mode right now, and there's a relief for them. $12 billion has been earmarked for that purpose alone. And the child care thing is also another $10 billion, coupled with the funding for low-income families to access broadband. That will be another $7 billion. So those are the things that I see that, that's not all, but there's still a whole lot more other department that will be getting something billion dollars. But I'm just saying this is what I saw from the Wall Street Journal, all right, and I think is worthy of noting these things that is going on. Now, let's talk about those who will not be getting nothing. Now, before now, I made a podcast that one of the main reasons why these people have not seemed to be able to pass any law, any bill, because there's been this stalemate, is because the Democrats are calling for local and state government aid, to like some like a bailout. Let's just be frank, for local and state governments. And Democrats are saying that this is not just for the blue states, and then so many other red states also need funds I mean, everybody needs funding, right? But the Republicans are saying that that is mainly for blue states, that is California and New York, because Texas is also there, but Texas is a red state. It's run by a Republican governor. Now, that bill is not part of this, and the Republicans are calling for liability protection for businesses. That's what they wanted to include in this bill. For instance, you see what happened in Tyson Foods, how over 1,000 of their employees tested positive for the virus, and their managers were actually doing a betting pool on them. That is what they are saying, that they're trying to absorb these companies from any form of litigation, even from any form of accountability for their employees testing positive due to, maybe they got the virus at the job, at the workplace. So they want to protect those companies from having to go to the court for some form of litigations. And I think that's not the best way. And I also think that is good to help the businesses, because you need them to be encouraged to work and create jobs for people. But at the same time, if your negligence, like in Tyson's food case now, has caused the death of at least 5 people, and also in Amazon too, there should be litigations. Heads should roll. Why should you protect them? And people are suffering. And I also made a podcast about the long-term effect of this COVID-19 that we do not know yet. We all know that. I know from my own experience that my intestinal function has changed drastically. I have a lot of headaches. I know those things for me. Though now is getting better now, but I noticed those stuffs. So we don't know what's going to happen in the near future. So why do you want to absolve these companies from any wrongdoing? But hey, they for this thing to happen, they have to let go of this, this demands from the bill. So it is not included. So the liability protection for businesses that Republicans want is not included, and also the funding for local and state government is also not included in this one. However, there's a bipartisan team that will draft a separate bill for those two provisions, because we have powerful lobbyists that are lobbying, state government are lobbying to get this fund. So there'll be a separate bill for these two purposes. So now what we are getting right now is just directly related to the American people. That's what this $908 billion is meant for, to help the American people. And we will thank them for that. And also we'll be watching closely to see how this whole bipartisan, this Republican and Democrats demands also pan out in the near future. That's one thing that Joe Biden will have to inherit when he comes into power next month. And on that note, I'll have to leave you with a quote from our dear Nancy Pelosi. She said, before I even talk about that, I remember that when I was reading, Patrick Toomey, the Republican senator from Pennsylvania, said that he wants to, after this bill has been done and all of that, he does not want, he wants us to close this thing forever. That whenever this government people, the federal government needs help, talking about the executive arm now, whenever they need help, they should come. They must get an exclusive approval from the Congress. They must get a congressional approval before they dip their hands into the country's treasury. And a lot of House Democrats said that is not the smartest thing to do, because some situations warrant for urgent reactions, and you cannot say because you want to watch how they spend the money, you don't want to go disburse the money. Because if President Trump's administration had not done what they did early in the year by getting funds and giving the American people the money, the country will have completely crashed and fallen all the way on its face. But because of what they did, it sort of helped to buffer the system. So that's and I think that's a good rebuttal. However, we do not encourage any government to just go and start taking money from the treasury, because that's not what it's all about. But at the same time, we have to be, we have to have an understanding of what is going on. So we can't just be irrational in our thoughts or our approach. Now, let's talk about Nancy Pelosi's quote, and we'll end this podcast. She said, "This emergency relief bill is an important initial step," meaning that there will be more steps. Like I said, they are trying to get a separate bill for those two provisions, the state fund and the business protection. I think that'll be a big problem, because already this country right now, the Republicans are saying that because by the time this bill runs out, funds runs out by ending of March, or by March or early April when it runs out, they're saying that will be it. By that time, the country should be on its way to recovery. And she's saying that this is an initial step. I don't know what she's talking about. So I'm saying this now, guys. If you're listening to this podcast, please do not take our word to the bank until you get that money in your account. Please, in your bank account, please do not hope for any other step from this one that they are doing right now, because you can see how long it has taken them to even get this much done. And I know it's a good deal. Everybody's is put into consideration, but these people are very slow in their response to things, and you don't want to hope that you don't want to sit back and expect anything from these people. Unless they do something, don't hope for it. So that's my own advice, that what she says here is just a political statement. Do not expect any further step from these people unless it's actually done. And that's my podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks a lot for listening to this podcast for this long. I appreciate you all. And please, if you've gotten any form of value from this content, any form of entertainment, information, clarity, I encourage you to please follow this podcast, share this podcast, and also comment, like us. We are on Instagram, we are on Twitter, and we are on Facebook. It's a Facebook page, and everything is called Astropod. Please check Astropod on all of those platforms, and you will not be disappointed. Thanks again for listening. I remain as Salama Ewaju. Thank you, and bye for now.